Hi, this is Maya Dimishkovich, and welcome to the Hidden Gem podcast. One of the key priorities for many, if not all, community colleges is to create a great experience throughout the entire student journey. From the moment the prospective student finds first about the college to making the decision to enroll, completing their program of study, graduating, and beyond. This careful and intentional management of the process is crucial, and it impacts almost all success metrics of the college. So, in this episode, I sit down with Devin Purgason from Forsyth Technical College, where we discuss how his institution has successfully reimagined the student discovery and inquiry stages of the process. This overhaul at his college was strategically implemented not just to streamline college resource and marketing effectiveness, but also to significantly boost student satisfaction. So let's get started. Welcome to The Hidden Gem, your go to podcast that shines a spotlight on the strategic role of marketing and communications in shaping the future of community colleges. I'm your host, Maya Dimishkovich, CMO at Carroll Community College. Every week, I sit down with community college leaders and industry experts to unpack strategies that work. We'll discuss practical insights and success stories to help you elevate your institution's profile and achieve your strategic goals. Tune in to amplify your community college's success, one conversation at a time. The Hidden Gem is part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher education professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org or check out some of my personal favorites linked in the show notes below. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the leading AI-powered all-in-one student engagement platform helping institutions create meaningful, personalized, and engaging interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com. And let's get started. Hi, Devin, and welcome to the Hidden Gem podcast.
Hi, Maya. I am so honored to be here talking with you today.
I'm very excited to have you. You're a great marketer. You love technology as much as I do. The whole chat GPT and
Yes.
AI, it's very exciting. But you're also just a fun person to be around. You have this, I don't know, this positive attitude about you, and it's very contagious. So I
Oh,
just love talking to you. So
oh,
thank
you're
you.
so sweet. That's so nice. I really appreciate it. You know, some people. Have you ever heard of those Clifton Strengths? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yep.
So one of my Clifton Strengths is positivity. So there you
You
go.
see,
That
I
is,
knew it.
you
I
knew
knew
it.
it. And it's very cool. You were just sharing before we started the recording some great news for your college. Do you
Yeah.
want to share them more broadly?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's something that we are really we have a great team that work in grants and science, and so we were visited by the First Lady of the United States, Dr. Jill Biden, and she came to our campus to announce that we had won one of the National Science Foundation's engine grants. So about $30 million between our college and Wake Forest University Institute of Regenerative Medicine for biotech. It's really exciting. It was a cool experience. Side note: we did have a schedule to do this podcast last week, but I'm so Maya.
That's okay.
You're never
I
go-
forgive
you're
you.
never gonna let me get over this, right? Yeah.
But these are such exciting news and congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a big deal. So
I,
congrats again.
I
You
appreciate
have
it.
so you have so much exciting stuff happening for you. Another exciting thing or interesting thing about you is your title. So your title
Thank you.
is Executive Director of Marketing and Student Care.
Right.
And at first, when I heard your title, I thought that you must be working for a very small community college, where people usually have long titles with
Mhm.
many different functions, often unrelated to each other.
Right.
But then I found out that's not the case for you. So I thought maybe we start by explaining how that came about.
Marketing and student care really, there might be some preconceived notions about what is student care and then how does it combine with marketing. And
Hmm.
so one thing that we realized was that we were doing a really good job of filling the funnel with students, but it kind of became like a black hole when there's no follow-up, or when there's no one to answer the question, or when a student reaches out to your institution but then they're bounced around from department to
Hmm.
department, and there's no real clear answer. We looked at industry. We looked at the way that students have customer experience, in the real world outside of higher ed, and that's not the way that it is with other corporations or with other service providers. So we wanted to create a customer service, a student centric
Hmm.
customer service model within our marketing department that would basically deepen the funnel. It would take the student not
Hmm.
just from prospect to applicant, in those harsh linear ways, but would help shepherd the student and answer any questions wherever they are. It really, honestly, is based. It's rooted in this idea of equity. Meeting
Hmm.
the student where they are and helping provide them with support, no matter where they are in the journey, without having to cause friction
Hmm.
for the student.
Right. No, I think that's friction is a big problem for many schools,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
So we're all trying to create an experience where it's student centric,
Hmm.
where we don't have to send them in different directions and try to hunt for those answers,
Hmm.
but and I think that's so cool about this integration is you are not just handling marketing and communications for your institutions, but you are in a way the face of the first impression,
Right.
right? When anyone comes to campus, you're the first one to greet them, to answer any questions, to take them to the department they need to go. And I think that's very cool because, like you said, you do deepen this funnel
Hmm.
and you have more ownership in what type of students you bring to the college, but also how they experience the college at the very start. So
Absolutely.
that's a very cool model.
Well, thank you. And it's one of those things, like, we know as marketers, we understand that the best type of marketing is word of mouth marketing, right? Like it's that human person telling you this is a really good product, this is a really good place.
Hmm.
And if we want to have students that have good experiences, that have a positive experience, that can, share that positive experience, then that helps us as marketers for our college. I love what you mentioned about sort of being like the front door of the college in a way, and it kind of brings me back to sort of a philosophy that I have, that everyone on your college campus is a marketer in a way. Like,
Hmm.
the people
Hmm.
that cut the grass, are helping with the image and the perception of your college and your university. And so it's just this holistic approach of, like, making sure that people have a really, really good seamless experience and they're able to get the support and the help that they need.
Hmm. Yeah, I can't agree more because it's not just a one department's job. Just like marketing is
Hmm.
everyone's job, so is student experience
Yes,
because they experience the college in so many different ways from faculty, from to paying the bills, to going to events. So it takes all of us to create an amazing experience and make sure they enjoy it and they feel like they belong at our institution,
absolutely.
right? Because they stay with us for a while, not just a year and go. Sometimes it's up to 6 years or more.
Exactly. And, if we're doing a good job with that student life cycle, like, we want to like, they're alumni, you know what I mean? Like, we want
Mm-hmm.
them to stay engaged with our college and with our campus. I know that community colleges probably have a much more I feel like they have a much more fractured donor base or alumni base than some universities. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that's an area of improvement that we can work on, and the more that we start to reduce the friction between these
Yep.
points, I think the better that we will be with that student life cycle.
So last time we spoke, you told me that you take this concierge approach. And when students come in, instead of sending them to an office, you lead them to that office and you introduce them to the person in that office. And the same week, I had somebody from advising come up to me and say, "Hey, we we need a better map of our first floor of the building, because right now we can't give a map to the student and send them to a different department. Right now we have to actually walk them to that department."
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, "Oh my god, maybe you should continue doing
I
that. Maybe I shouldn't be
know.
I shouldn't create a map for
Throw
you.
all the
Maybe we
maps
should do
away.
maybe that's exactly an additional touch point, an additional moment to show how much you care about a student, that you personally walk them over to financial aid office or to pay the bill or whatever it is.
Yes.
So I just remembered our conversation and I'm like,
Huh.
should I submit this request?
Right, exactly. Oh my goodness, that is funny. That is funny, it's that personal touch that people will remember. We have events a lot of times, and our student care reps um, are there to help facilitate, check people in or whatnot, and I get compliments all the time from students, especially students that maybe are adult learners that they've been around, they have maybe have had a poor experience at a college or university prior. They're like, oh my goodness, like you guys are so helpful, you're so friendly, you're so warm. And that's really the way that we want people to feel when they
Hmm.
walk into Forsyth Tech's doors or when they walk out of Forsyth Tech's doors, that
Right.
they really are cared for.
Hmm. They must have known about your Clifford strengths, right? Because
Yeah.
you're like a perfect person for this job with your positive attitude.
Right,
It's
right.
yeah. Well, now let's talk a little bit about how do you measure the results and how do you know that this integration of two departments actually works and
Yeah,
makes sense. What can you share there?
absolutely. So a couple of things that you know from a metric standpoint that I can point to, um, is the amount of students that we have this semester. Like I said, we've been doing this for about a year and a half, and we've had almost a 10% increase in enrollment this semester from last spring. Uh,
That's great.
and it's not just one team. It's not just marketing that made that happen. If we didn't have amazing advisors that were working and meeting with students and helping them choose a degree or the classes that they need to succeed, or amazing financial aid counselors that were in there helping students figure out ways to afford their education, like these things would not be possible. So
Hmm.
don't hear me like taking the credit for this, but that's one piece that we've seen. Now here's something that we also keep track of. We keep track of like our phone volume. So like how many
Hmm.
calls are we getting? How many inbound calls are there? What is our answer rate? What is our rate of first time call solving the issue? You know what I mean? There's another term for that. I'll have to I'll put it in the notes or something.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone listening to this podcast, yeah, I'll find the word for that, and I'll get back with you. But like we want to make sure that whenever a student calls, like we're making sure that within that first call we can actually give them a solution rather than prolonging that. Now that's not always
Hmm.
possible, and there are things that we do have to escalate. The student care representatives have a vast array of information that they have to know, but we try to basically solve about 80% of all inquiries without escalating to a higher department or
Mm-hmm.
or a different department that they're actually needing a solution from. So I'll tell you one thing that has been really really impressive to me, and this is all our student care team, because they're the amazing people that are doing this work every single day. Um, we have gone in over in the year, we have gone from a 53% answer rate
Mm-hmm.
to an 85% answer rate. And so we have students that are calling, and they're actually, they're not just going around the phone tree, you know what I mean, and just like
Mm-hmm.
pressing
Yeah.
numbers and being sent to department to department. It all is filtered into one thing. We call it our contact center. That's a part of the student care. So within that contact center, there people are answering phones, people are answering chats that come in on the
Mm-hmm.
website. They're answering text messages through our CRM. They're answering email inquiries, info@forsythtech.edu. Um, all
Yeah.
of those sort of general email accounts all sort of filter into one singular place. This also is really helpful for us whenever it comes to like providing consistent information, right?
Mm-hmm.
you know
Mm-hmm.
it helps us really consolidate that, and I think because we have really really worked hard to bolster this department, that our students have seen that, and it's resulted in a really great enrollment, great call volume, and call answer rate
Mm-hmm.
increases that we've been able to do because we have people dedicated to
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah. I wonder, like, I know we do student satisfaction survey every
Mhm.
year. I'm sure you guys do the same.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it changed maybe from year to year, if they're more satisfied with the onboarding experience. I don't know if you've seen a difference and noticed an impact.
Yeah, so we haven't sent out a survey like that at this moment, but you know
Hmm.
what? I think I should write that down,
Yeah,
Maya,
do that.
and see,
Talk to your research team, see if they can add it to the questionnaire.
absolutely, and see, this is the reason that I love talking with you, Maya, because
Yeah.
you ask such good questions and you have such great insight, and you really help stretch. You know what I mean? So thank you, thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
you.
of
I appreciate
course.
it. So that's amazing. And then as I was thinking about this approach, another benefit that I saw, and I know we talk a lot about before you start crafting any
Mhm,
communications or any marketing campaign, you really need to understand your target audience. Who is that person? What are the struggles? What are the concerns, barriers, etc.?
mhm,
And many colleges don't really know who they serve, and marketing might not have done the research they need, or maybe they don't have students they have access to. But in your case, you have access to students all day long,
right.
right? So you know exactly what types of questions they want to know answers to, you know what their struggles are, and not only you understand them better, but you can make immediate changes in
Mhm.
your marketing campaigns, in your communications, on the website.
Yes,
um, have you noticed that?
absolutely. So
Hmm.
and I think this is probably the most real time example that we have. It is our web chat. So we have an AI chatbot, and it's based on OpenAI's ChatGPT. It's through our CRM, but it doesn't always know the answer. So when it
Hmm.
doesn't know the answer, it gives the option: would you like to speak with someone? And then, if the student says yeah, or the visitor on our website says yes, it connects them with one of our student care representatives.
Hey, it's Maya Dimeshkovich. Exciting news. I will be at the Engage Summit in Raleigh on June 25th and 26th, and I would love to meet you there. Hosted by Element 451, the Engage Summit is your roadmap for AI readiness in higher education. Sessions will focus on cutting edge AI applications that are reshaping student outreach, enhancing staff productivity, and offering deep insights into ROI. It is a dynamic blend of theory and practice, and it isn't your typical conference. Think of it as a 2-day masterclass where marketers and enrollment managers come together to learn how to respond to the radical changes in AI and its transformative potential. Forget yawning through the sessions or clearing out your inbox. This event will provide inspirational programming, truly tactical takeaways, and best in class networking opportunities. Oh, and the best part, the Engage Summit is incredibly affordable. Use the discount code Enrollify50 and you can register for just $99. So join me and many of my fellow Enrollify Network creators at the Engage Summit this June. Learn more and register at engage.element451.com. We can't wait to see you there.
Every
Mm-hmm.
time someone there's that's what we call a knowledge gap. Every time there's a knowledge gap, it's not able to answer the question because it's pulling information from our website. We get to notify our knowledge management specialist, who
Mm-hmm.
then can go and say, "Oh, wait, we've had a lot of people ask this particular question. Maybe it's not clear. Maybe it's not clear on the
Mm-hmm.
website. Maybe this is something that we need to do a social media push about. Oh, the bookstore is closed today, or whatever it may be. There's a plethora of examples, but a lot of marketing teams sort of function as non-student facing,
Mm-hmm.
which is valid. But this has given us a window into student facing. It's like
Yeah.
right outside of our front door where we can really see what students are asking questions about, what students need help with,
Mm-hmm.
how we can support, um, communicate to our students, engage with our students even more rapidly.
Yeah. No, I think this is a huge benefit. Um, on my campus, I do have access to students. We have student workers in my office, and we
Yeah.
ask them tons of questions. But I remember working for an online university where we didn't have a physical location or campus. And I remember doing a lot of listening sessions with our enrollment advisors. So I would sit down with them and just listen to their conversations
Mhm.
with the prospective students and take note of the questions, maybe help figure out a better positioning for the program or address missing information on the website. So it was super helpful. So even if you don't have a setup like Devin, which, this model might not work for all the institutions,
Absolutely.
right?
Mhm.
So make sure you find a way to gain the insights and information and talk to your advising and admission team to see what kind of questions people are asking. This is so important.
I love that, Maya, and I think if if I didn't have our student care team leveraging, like what you mentioned, leveraging your advising, your admissions, your recruitment team, to help get real time insight about what students are needing, or how they
Mhm.
are consuming information or whatnot, is a really great advice.
Another benefit that I see for this model is as a marketing communication department, you're responsible for brand awareness,
Mhm.
lead generation, engagement of your external audiences. And I think it's very cool that you actually get to see the leads and the people you bring to campus. And maybe that allows you to make adjustments to your campaign to say, hey, we are trying to promote this program, but for some reason we're getting people for these programs. Have you noticed anything like this, or were you able to make any adjustments maybe to your messaging or campaigns or anything like that?
Yeah. So you're exactly right. So I'd mentioned earlier that this was kind of like a deepening of the funnel, but on the upper end of the funnel, it gives us a lot more insight and tie back to say, okay, what is working? Where did this student come from? And how have they, made it through the funnel? So we're able to
Mm-hmm.
look and tie that back. As far as being able to see, like, oh, I just put out a campaign about health sciences and that is blowing up. People are really interested. But then wait a second, they're not actually matriculating. What is
Mm-hmm.
happening? That helped us say, oh, well, we need our student care representatives need to have a little bit more information about some of the competitive admissions that health
Mm-hmm.
sciences have. So we were able to add that to our student care knowledge base. So then they were able to talk more eloquently about some of the
Yeah.
requirements for some of our health science programs. Um, One thing that we have worked really hard on, like I'd mentioned, we have a lot of information for our student care reps. That it's impossible to onboard somebody and say, okay, welcome. Hey, is this your first time working in higher ed? Okay, I need you to learn everything about our college, and you got a week. That's just, it's not realistic. It's not possible. Yeah. So we realized that we needed to have a really, really extensive knowledge base. And we didn't just need to build a knowledge base. It's not something that you can just build and forget about, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a living, breathing organism. It's something that
Mm-hmm.
that changes all the time and needs a little bit of constant upkeep to make sure that information is still accurate, or when new programs or initiatives or things happen, that we're able to make sure that that is updated and correct. So we were able to work with our cabinet to get a position approved to have a knowledge management specialist. So someone whose role is to build the knowledge base that we have, regularly meet with on-campus partners to make sure, hey, is this up to date? Are there other pieces that we need? That person
Mm-hmm.
also is almost like a liaison between student care and those organizations to say, or not organizations, those other campus partners to say, hey, we're getting a lot of questions about the new FAFSA.
Yeah.
And so we need to add some of those things. Can you help me build that into our knowledge base? Um, you know, I'd mentioned the knowledge gaps that we have with our web chat. Whenever something like that happens, a student care rep actually has to go in and answer a question. They tag our knowledge management specialist, who then can go and add it to our AI chatbot's knowledge base as well. So um, that has been something really, really crucial for the success of our student care team.
Now I'm thinking I need a knowledge base. I think every college needs a knowledge base. I can see how useful it could be, because right now, like, let's say I need information about the new FAFSA. I would go to financial aid office to confirm the information I have, or I'll go to advising to confirm what they have. So in a way, my department serves as a liaison,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Trying to collect this information. So having a dedicated person collecting and organizing all of this would be super amazing and useful for everyone.
Absolutely. And also this person's role, one way some people, may think, oh, well, that's like a heavy lift initially for the project, but is that really a full-time position moving forward? So a piece of that person's role is also making sure that the information on our website is accurate. How many
Mm-hmm.
times, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we have, as marketers, we have so many priorities, we have so many things that are happening. We have social media, we have press, we have our website, and then like something has the wrong date on it, and then we're like
Mm-hmm.
thrown under the bus for like not changing the date or not seeing the date on one of the 3,000 pages that we have on our website. And it's just like, no, I can't believe like I let that happen. So this person, their role is also to ensure that the information on our website is updated and accurate, which has been really, really
Mm-hmm.
helpful for us. Because if you're a larger school, or like, you don't even have to be a large school, any school, like,
Yeah.
you've got many, many pages on those websites, and it's hard to make sure that everything is always accurate. So it's been
Mm-hmm.
really beneficial.
I do like this centralized approach. It's very helpful. And for some reason, it takes me back again to this online university that I used to work for. And I remember we used to do train the trainer. So we would train a person like the one you have.
Hmm.
What's the title?
A knowledge management specialist.
So I was a brand manager for School of Business and Technology. So I would come to this person and I would train them everything they need to know about our programs, etc. And they will take it back to their team, the enrollment team,
Hmm.
uh, and then train them so they know how to answer questions. And then sometimes we would have program directors come in and provide more in-depth information about courses, etc. So it seems like a great it was a great approach.
Yeah.
Sounds like something that you are building and trying to do.
Absolutely. In this position, it started about 6 months ago. So it's fairly new, but so
Hmm.
far it's been really, really well received. And, you know, like I mentioned earlier as well, we took this model kind of from industry.
Yeah.
I did a lot before we started the student care team. I did a lot of training on like call center training and contact center training, and this was just something that most people advocated for because you know whenever it comes to customer service, there's a plethora of questions that could happen, and this was just something that was born out of out of industry.
I mean, yeah, why not rely on somebody who's done a good job
Yep,
prior to you
exactly.
and take it?
Right.
That's a smart way to go. And then another thing I wanted to mention that I love about this approach is, of course, access to students, but also ability to identify great stories uh,
Yes.
and disseminate them, because we know how important it is, storytelling and showing our students and their successes. And very often it's hard to find those students
Mhm.
because we don't see them, or we don't get the referrals from faculty and staff. So for you, having this access again, I would imagine really helps in this regard.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where, especially so, we have people also at front desk. So it's not just, on the phone or in a contact center or, behind a computer. So, our student care representatives, like a student is coming to class, all semester, they get to know our students, and they're that
Mhm.
friendly face that's helping them. They know those individuals. And so they're able to, build relationships with students, help encourage, oh, you got a big test today, oh man, I hope you do great. They're able to encourage them, and then yeah, they are like, they're like the little ears on the ground, like listening for things, and
It's like a bartender, you know how
yeah.
bartenders know all the stories?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
That's your care team.
That's right. That's right. You know what? Some of
Yeah.
them may, if they hear this, they may start advocating for like a bar behind
I mean, why not? They
right.
deserve it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
um, that's very cool. So, any challenges that you've identified during this process? Anything you want to share, and maybe share how the strategy might have evolved since 2 years ago,
Yeah,
almost 2 years ago?
almost 2 years ago. Yeah, yeah, definitely challenges. There is, and we're still. I want to reiterate, Maya, that we're still learning and growing, and we're not where we want to eventually be. Like we want to increase our numbers and increase our employees, and the services that we provide and the knowledge that we have, and ways that we can make the student experience better. So we haven't arrived. Forsyth Tech hasn't arrived at this moment. Like we are still you know we're still learning, and that's big for me. But one of the challenges that we've had is, to make this work, we've had to start small. We
Mm-hmm.
weren't able to staff every front desk at first because there is a substantial human resource that is needed for this. So we have a director of student care who reports to me, and then we have a coordinator under him, and then we've got about 13 student care
Mm-hmm.
representatives. And the way that the student care team, they rotate. So they rotate between several front desk, and then some will be in our contact center. So we have a campus that we've created like a the call center, if you will, but we call it a
Mm-hmm.
contact center because it's not just calls. They're doing emails, they're doing chat and text and things of that nature. And the reason that we rotate our student care reps, it's not just this one person, they're only front desk, and this one person, they're only the call center, is because what if someone's sick? What if someone
Mm-hmm.
can't come to work that day? And then we send someone to a new campus that they've never experienced, they've never been in. So we keep rotating our student care reps so they have a little bit of knowledge of every area,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not something where they just sort of dust that off. So that's about the size of our team. We basically, the way that we determined like this is the need that we have is we looked at a couple call center calculators. So you can Google that, you can find them online, and basically if you just take and say, okay, this is the amount of call volume that we have, and we can see
Mm-hmm.
that our ITS team provided us the average numbers of calls that we have. Here are the average numbers of calls. Here's my answer rate percentage that I want to get, and then it'll let you know, like, okay, here's how many people that you need, here's how many full-time people that you
Mm-hmm.
need.
Mm-hmm.
We were not able to like say, okay, we got 13 open positions, at one time. It was something that we had to build up to, and we had to, you know, show that this was something that was beneficial. One
Mm-hmm.
one way that we did this was we started to absorb helping information from different areas. So, like, okay, we're going to start taking all of student successes calls. So that's like our
Mm-hmm.
advising team. Like we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
handle your walk-in traffic, and we're gonna handle your calls. Well, they have two administrative positions, right? So we were able to say, okay, these administrative positions are going to shift over to student care and start working in that respect, so that we're still doing that. Oh, financial aid, we're adding financial aid, we're going to be taking their calls, absorbing their calls. Okay, well, there's one administrative position that can move over to
Mm-hmm.
student care. So it was a little bit of reallocating that we had to do, organizationally, but also we were able to show need, and then got approval for a couple of positions, and then oh, here's a part-time position that will give you,
Mm-hmm.
and then could be built to a full-time position. So it's not been something that's been like sudden. We decided that we wanted to do this, and then we were gifted all these open seats. That's not reality.
That didn't
No,
happen.
it did not happen overnight. I know
Wow. Okay.
it's a shock. I mean, usually at
Yeah,
community
it is.
colleges, yeah, like we just,
I know.
yeah, throw out the money for that. I know. So it was definitely something that we've had to work toward, but that's been a
Mm-hmm.
challenge. That's been a challenge. For a while there, it was like it was stressful. Like we didn't have enough staff, and we weren't able to have like the best answer rate.
Yeah.
But we've grown into that, and we've gotten more efficient, and better. Another challenge that we've had is also in the human resource side, is that our student care representative position, because they are learning so much information about the college. What ends up happening is they're amazing. They're wonderful people. They get to know Forsyth Tech. They get to know people, and then a position in financial aid opens, and they apply
Uh-huh.
for it, and they're a shoe in because they know, like we know them. They know that this person's a great employee. They have institutional history. They obviously have knowledge of some of the things, and so they leave student care, and they move up within the organization. So that has been something, like I feel like a lot of times we do have, like, okay, there's one open position, we're hiring, we're hiring. So
Mm-hmm.
um, those have definitely been challenges that we've had.
Mm-hmm. But it sounds like you found a way to figure it out and grow your team and continue to provide amazing services to your students. And I'm sure other departments appreciate it. Advising and financial aid, they don't have to deal with this
Ex-
anymore.
exactly,
They
yeah.
can just focus on their job.
100%. And that's another great part of this, is like, we're putting teams on our college to their highest and best use. You know,
Hmm.
like you meant, that's a great point. Financial aid is able to actually work equitably and help people that really need help with financial, like if they're, if they really have a lot of questions, or there's intense confusion around it, which obviously, if you know anything about the new FAFSA, there's a lot of confusion.
Right. Well, no one knows anything
Exactly.
about new FAFs.
Right. Oh my goodness. But they're able to, like, sit. They're not having to sit there and say, "Hey, what's the financial aid FAFSA school code?" and answer that.
Hmm.
They can work on, like, okay, let's say, like, oh, my parent doesn't have a social security number. How do I move through that, and how do I navigate financial aid with those
Right.
problems? Always learning, always learning.
Thanks again. And that's a wrap of today's episode. Before we part, here are some key takeaways. First, remember that making our students feel at home is on all of us here on campus. It's about creating an environment where everyone feels empowered to chip in and make a difference. Next, let's not shy away from mixing things up a bit. Let's get creative about how we use our resources to really support our students' journeys. And lastly, improving the student experience, it's not a one off. It's a steady, thoughtful effort that needs all hands on deck from every corner of the college. And in today's story, David was at the forefront, championing for a more effective and efficient way to welcome students. But of course, this change would not be possible without leadership endorsement and support. So, you, as college leaders, are called to not only be supportive and receptive to initiatives like this, but also proactively lead them. By the nature of your position as leaders of the college, you have a unique, comprehensive view of the college's operations to spearhead change and ensure its integration across the institution. I hope you keep these takeaways in mind, and let's continue amplifying the success of community colleges together, one conversation at a time. I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it valuable. Let's keep this conversation going on LinkedIn at Maya Dimishkovich. I would love to hear your thoughts, questions, and suggestions for what you'd like to see next on this podcast. Remember, by tuning in to The Hidden Gem, you're not just listening to a podcast, you are joining a movement of amplifying community college success. Don't miss out. Subscribe to this podcast and notifications about our future episodes. Share it with your colleagues and college leaders to help make our colleges stand out. Together, let's make an impact. The Hidden Gem is part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you will like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher education technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Our shows help higher ed marketers and admissions professionals find their next big idea and feature selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Jamie Hunt, Jenny Fowler, Eddie Francis, Brian Gross, and so many other of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the leading AI-powered all-in-one student engagement platform helping institutions create meaningful, personalized, and engaging interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.